Ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Somebody said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Ooh, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Depending on where you are across the world, I am coming through for a live stream because I want to talk about a few things. Specifically, I want to talk about an incident that happened 1 year ago in DeadHorse, Alaska, something that has been dubbed UAP20. A object that was shot down in DeadHorse, Alaska 1 year ago. But before we get into the incident with UAP20, I just want to make a statement here on the whole Young Thug trial. I don't know if you all have been following this trial. I have been following it, but I've been very particular in, I've not really talked about the trial with Young Thug because I think it's an absolute train wreck at this point. I feel like if Young Thug is not given a mistrial, or if this case is not if the case is not dismissed against him, I feel like on appeal, the defense is going to be able to get this case overturned, because this case has been just dragged out by the prosecution. The judge today, the new judge, right? Remember, there was a judge in this case that got, a new judge was brought in to the case in this long running case. Actually scorned the prosecution today. And I think rightfully so. The judge pretty much questioned out in the open whether or not the prosecution was purposely misleading the court or trying to cause chaos in this particular trial. Judge Paige Reese Whitaker actually expressed frustration and admonished the prosecution, and then denied another motion by the defense for a mistrial. But you all, this case has been so dragged out, so unorganized. I feel like at this point, it's just really beyond unethical. It seems like the prosecution is out to, like, they're just going to keep going and going and going and going unless somebody can check them. Somebody can put them in check a little bit. The first judge, he had very questionable ties. Again, he was taken off the case. And then now we've got this new judge who, she's just seems to be fed up with the whole thing, right? So yes, the RICO trial against YSL, I don't know if you want to call him member, owner, creator, whatever, Young Thug, did resume, today. But again, on top of that, the trial resuming, the defense, filed a motion for a mistrial. But it's evident that judge is fed up. So the trial got paused last week in anticipation of Hurricane Helene. And, my prayers are with everyone who's been affected by this horrible storm. It has killed over 100 people in the United States. It's did a lot of damage, right? But these rising tensions in this trial caused Judge Whitaker to deliver some pretty fiery remarks to the prosecution and essentially suggested that the team is so unorganized that it appears they're throwing the case together as they try it. And then she continued to say, quote, "I can't figure out what it is, but it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to seemingly purposely hide the ball to the extent that you possibly can for as long as you possibly can." Whitaker appeared frustrated as she shared very strong words with Chief Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love over how she's been handling the case. And again, the judge's words were in response to a dispute over hearsay evidence that the prosecution attempted to introduce via a witness. Again, Young Thug's attorney Keith Adams called for a mistrial. Whitaker, the judge, went on to say, quote, "This case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented," end quote. It has been the longest trial in Georgia state history, and there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight on this case. The prosecution just keeps going and going and going and going. Now, Young Thug, the Atlanta rapper who has been at the center of this high-profile trial, is accused of being the co-founder and kingpin of Young Slime Life. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office has brought charges alleging that YSL is a criminal street gang. And Young Thug has been fighting for his life since May of 2022. And, while we're talking about Georgia and Atlanta, there's been a very horrendous fire that has broke out in Atlanta, actually, in which a biolab, a chemical plant, caught on fire, and chlorine has been detected in the air. And residents have been asked to completely shelter down and to not run their AC, and that was extended earlier today indefinitely. So more to come on that. So let's jump on over into this UAP20 story. That's what I really, really, really want to talk about today. Do you all remember 1 year ago when the Chinese balloon, slash maybe a spy device, got shot down? Well, there was all this talk about Chinese balloons, being seen in North America. But during that time in DeadHorse, Alaska, do you all remember when a UAP was detected and was shot down? It was alleged that a unidentified object was shot down in DeadHorse, Alaska 1 year ago. And our government has been just mute on this. Just has nothing to say. We do have acknowledgement, however, not only from the Canadian government, because there was objects that also showed themselves in Canadian airspace. It's not even just the Canadian government, but the American government, including Biden, who even spoke on the Chinese balloon and other, unidentified objects, etc. He was real careful about what he said, right? But we have confirmation all the way to the top that there was definitely something very strange happening last year, 1 year ago. You all check this out, and then we'll be right back. I'll be right back because I want to go over a few pictures that have leaked, as well as a video of events that were going on the day that this unidentified object was shot down.
Americans are shocked when the Pentagon admits a massive high-altitude Chinese surveillance balloon was able to enter US airspace unhindered.
Does it scare you at all?
Yeah, of course.
It was just as crazy of a reaction as if it had been something from out of this world.
It drifts for days across the continent before being shot down by US fighters off the coast of South Carolina.
We shot it!
But 6 days later, it happens again. Around 1:45 Eastern Time, Friday, the 10th of February, the first of 3 objects that are still unexplained is shot down by US fighters near the town of DeadHorse in northern Alaska. A massive air and ground search begins. Within hours of the shoot-down, the White House national security spokesman admits they have no idea what the object was.
We're calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now. We do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned. We just don't know.
These incursions keep on happening. A second cylindrical object is shot down over Canada's Yukon the next day, February the 11th. And on the 12th, the third, this time octagonal object, was downed over Lake Huron near Michigan. And now, a News Nation exclusive. 3 sources tell me there was an earlier, publicly undisclosed incident over the Arctic Circle on the 1st of February, 3 days before the Chinese balloon shoot-down. These defence and intelligence sources revealing to News Nation 8 or 9 UAPs were detected over the Arctic Circle and that fighter jets were sent up in what was an unsuccessful attempt to intercept them. Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defence Christopher Mellon has independently confirmed the same story.
Fighter jets were deployed from NORAD to engage with those objects, and that they were seen to maneuver away, apparently at high speed. Have you heard those allegations? I've heard it now from 3 different people.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, and from an individual who would have plausible reason to know. But this really speaks to a much larger issue, which is the lack of information from the Air Force about UAP generally.
In response to questions from News Nation, the Pentagon referred us to NORAD, who deny the allegations that fighter jets were scrambled to intercept UAPs. NORAD does say it had aircraft flying in the area, returning to home bases as part of a training operation. News Nation is also being told by sources that the object the US shot down over Alaska on February the 10th was also anomalous. There's been silence for over 8 months on these shoot-downs, though in February, the White House assured the public it was confident the Alaska object debris would be recovered.
It fell not only within our territorial space, but on what we believe is frozen water. So a recovery effort will be made.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to join.nn.
It doesn't get much better than that. Listen, shout out to everybody in the chat. A shout out to a very phenomenal family member, Tisman Colbert, also in the chat. Good to see you. What's up with it, Third Eye? Good to see you as well. Listen. I've got the video that shows some very strange activity that happened in DeadHorse, Alaska, the day that this craft was reportedly shot down. And there are some pictures that have begun to leak. It's one of those situations where pictures will show up and then they get deleted, and then they show up and then they get deleted again. But we do have some images that have come out. It is alleged that this image shows this UAP that was shot down in DeadHorse, Alaska. But again, there's no way for us to confirm it. But listen, the very interesting video that I want all of us to take a look at was a video that got mysteriously deleted. And it is taken by a man who was there in DeadHorse, Alaska, who actually recorded what was happening that day when this object was shot down. And I want us to take a look at that. You all pay attention to how the government, put stuff in their statements. There's no way they could deny that they had airplanes and aircraft flying over this area, because they came out and they threw it in their comment claiming that these aircraft were on a training mission. Now, we heard about this a year ago when it happened. There's also a mysterious, it has been reported, a mysterious pyramid that is in Alaska that is, several feet underground, but a stone black, I don't know if it's what mineral rock it's made out of, but it's completely black, a pyramid that is actually in Alaska that was discovered by a man who had, he had suspected it. He had heard things. He had worked somewhere, I don't remember what part of the government he worked in, but he had heard about this pyramid. And what he did is he went over public maps and began to look at all of the different grids of land that were there in Alaska. And he comes upon a section of the map that had not been reviewed yet. It was not public. There was no public information about this. And within that particular grid, it is alleged that there is actually a pyramid that exists there. So, there is that. And I hear the pyramid is just as big, if not bigger, than the pyramids in Giza, which is very fascinating and blows many people's minds even to this day, to the point of how was it even built, right? How are these pyramids even built? But again, I want to take a look at this video again, this deleted video that is alleged to be a witness to some of the high strangeness that occurred when this object was shot down over DeadHorse, Alaska.
I am as close as you can get on land to the location of the object that was shot down by the U.S. military on the north coast of Alaska. So this is all ice, actually, sea ice right here. This is the Arctic Ocean. And I'll show a little picture of the flight tracker of the C-130 that's burning circles out here over the ice, over what we presume is the location of this object. I'll put that on the screen so you guys can see it. And I'll put a little red dot for as close as I can get to it and show you where I'm at. Obviously, this sea ice is pretty thick, so anything they shot down over there should be recoverable. My coworkers have heard jets flying over, and we've seen a Black Hawk helicopter fly out over the ice, so they're definitely out there somewhere. This is what it looks like. It's about 17 below and kind of cloudy, but they'll find whatever it is, I'm sure.
All right, guys, back in my room now, the North Slope. That's what it looks like, if anybody cares. I'm going to be putting some pictures in this video of all the stuff that we've been seeing today, all the Black Hawks flying around and C-130s, and we'll keep you guys updated as we see and hear more information. There's definitely a lot of military activity going on up here, and there's a lot more helicopters flying out over the ice to do whatever they're doing than to pick up some small little car-sized object. Seems kind of strange, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Stay tuned. All right, here's some of the photos of what we're seeing up here. Pretty crazy military activity. The whole reason I made this video is kind of draw some attention to my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to check it out, Backcountry Alaska, it's everything I do up here. Thanks.
All right, guys. Here's something going on right here. Now this could just be a cargo plane or something, because we do have cargo planes that land at DeadHorse, which is right over there. And I'm watching it take off, and it looks like a C-130. It's going to fly right over the top of me, which is right in the direction of the UFO-ish area, whatever. I see those lights on the horizon. Might be hard to see. That's where I took the TikTok out on the edge of the Arctic Ocean yesterday. And then the C-130. There's also another jet streak right there. It's flying way high. I don't know what that is, but the C-130 is going to come right over the top of us. Shit, it's cold. My gloves on, dude. Right there, -22. Dude, this is definitely not good. Military is flying right towards it. Live update. It's like 9:30 in the morning. You're working. Totally military C-130 flying out over the ice right now. There it goes. Definitely not a cargo plane. Our cargo C-130s up here are painted white. Headed out over the ice. Boom. Crazy. So there's obviously still stuff going on out there. That heading right there, straight out. It's supposed to be 5-6 miles over the ice, off the edge of the coastline. Jesus, cold. Just took off from DeadHorse. Flying out over the ice. Yeah, look at that shit. Let me know what you guys think. Put it in the comments. What's going on? If it was the size of a car, I figured they would have already picked it up. Where's my phone number? But maybe there's a lot of debris out there. I don't know. Who knows what's going on? That's the heading. Crazy. Shit, it's cold. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll keep you guys updated on here. There it goes. I don't know if I need to film anymore. I don't think so. Holy shit. Live action. Yeah, so I'm starting to think this isn't a military or civilian jet. So it's going on a straight line all day, and it just took this big hard turn to the left, which is not the direction that all this activity's been going on. But, you know, who knows? I'm gonna put this in the YouTube video also. Let me know what you guys think. Big hard left. Definitely not on a polar route to Europe or anything. What is it? Damn, guys, I'm just posting updates, and here comes a Black Hawk. They're definitely not doing whatever they're done doing, covering the UFO or whatever it is was shot down out there, China or Russia, whoever. Damn, I'm gonna be kind of far away for this, but there goes the Black Hawk. Crazy. Yeah, and for all you haters who think this is anywhere in the U.S. or blah, blah, blah. This is Prudhoe Bay. These are whale wells right here. There it goes. I'm gonna lose it. This is Prudhoe. My first TikTok right out there on the ocean. 5-6 miles. That C-130 flew directly that way. 5-6 miles that way out over the ice. That's where this activity is going on. Crazy. There it goes. Definitely kind of flying straight east. So I don't know if it'll go over land straight east and then hook out to the left, to the north over the ice or what. Definitely a Black Hawk helicopter though. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning now. All right, guys, live update. 9:46 a.m. C-130 just took off right off of DeadHorse Airport, it looks like. Flew right over the top of me. Definitely a military C-130. Flew directly out over the ice in the same direction all this activity's been going on. So there's definitely still stuff going on. Don't know what they're doing, but I'm going to put a little clip in here. I took a 2-minute video or something, so I'll put the rest of it on my YouTube channel if you guys want to watch the full video of it flying over. But just a single C-130 so far this morning. There's also this jet streak way high right now, but I think that just might be a polar route commercial jet. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Go check out my YouTube channel, subscribe if you want to support me. Thank you. There it goes. Definitely not a cargo plane. Our cargo C-130s up here are painted white. Okay, live above Prudhoe Bay. What the fuck is going on around here, dude? Look at that shit. There is some crazy crap going on around here. Super exciting. Nothing fun ever happens at work. Don't see anything over there. But yeah, that ain't civilian. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. This is crazy. Thank you. Yeah, so this guy's just burning circles above Prudhoe Bay here. Way high. I don't know what he's doing. If you guys don't end up seeing this video, it's because they're jamming our signals. Crazy. What's going on? Look at that. Just burning circles above us, high altitude. There's a C-130 out, Black Hawk's out flying around. It's crazy. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, guys. For one, this is a super beautiful sundog. Super beautiful. For two, right there you can see another jet stream headed to the north slope. You know what? There's this other one that's still circling above us. For what we can only guess is part of this operation that's going on to recover whatever object or UFO that they shot down here 2 days ago. This is happening right now. It's 11:30 in the morning. Crazy. C-130 and a Black Hawk, at least one we've seen fly out over the ice today. So they're still recovering or looking for or doing something up here. I'm trying to keep you guys updated. Also, subscribe to my channel, please. Really helps.
And again, that channel name is Backcountry. Okay, all one word together. Backcountry Alaska YouTube. Definitely go and give them a follow. Let them know LeakYou sent you. So, you know, again, we have actual confirmed, you know, a confirmation from government sources. President Biden During Biden's administration, John Kirby, White House spokesman, who actually confirmed that the Pentagon shot down an unidentified object over frozen waters in around DeadHorse, Alaska. Again, this was February 10th, 2023, last year. And there's been several news articles, several videos, things like that, that people have done, around that time when this happened. But listen, there was a secret memo that has raised more questions about these UFO shoot downs, not only over Alaska, but over Canada. And again, during that time, that same week, actually, or around the same few weeks around when this happened, a Chinese spy balloon was taken down off the coast of South Carolina. There's no telling how many of these spy balloons had even been, moving above us. But either a crazy coincidence of the Chinese sky balloon or an attempt at misinformation by our government in order to deter people from looking at what was going on in Alaska and Canada. And here's another little problem for the United States government when it comes to this particular incident. The fact that an object was shot down over the Yukon, and the fact that Canada is a little bit more open than the United States is when it comes to UAPs period, UFOs period, UAPs being shot down. The government has even went so far as to change the name of unidentified flying objects from UFO to UAP, unidentified anomalous, right? They've completely changed the acronym, et cetera, et cetera. They run as fast and as hard as they can away from this anything around this topic ever making its way out to the public. There's been memos that have been released, documents that even go into a little bit more depth, even of the incident over the Yukon, that go into more depth on like the propulsion. There was no propulsion seen, etc. And I'm going to show it to you. So again, we had 3 unidentified objects within a 3-day period shot down. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau received a secret memo laying out how the Canadian government was actually responding to the February 11th Yukon incident. It stated that the, quote, full exploitation, end quote, of whatever the U.S. Air Force shot down over the waters of Alaska on February 10th had not yet been completed. There were reports a few days later that stated that the United States had called off the search for wreckage of the downed object. And exactly what kind of intelligence exploitation the memo was referring to is unclear. But this memorandum for the Prime Minister that was transmitted February 14th, 2023 was actually obtained by Canadian news outlet CTV from a source who actually filed a FOIA request, Freedom of Information request, that the news organization said it verified with its own information request. And according to the memo, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, known as NORAD, numbered unknown objects sequentially, which is why this incident in DeadHorse, Alaska, is being dubbed UAP20. Okay, UAP20. So the NORAD numbers these unknown objects sequentially to, quote, track every detected object that is not immediately identified upon cross-examination. Most objects be innocuous and do not meet the higher threshold for higher reporting or engagement, end quote. However, the object the memo identified as UAP23 in this particular memo about the object over the Yukon meant that it was the 23rd unidentified radar track by NORAD over North America at that point in the year. It was again, the week of February 10th, 2023. So we were roughly about a month into the year at that point. Now, again, we know that this object was shot down. This was, again, has been confirmed all the way up to the White House. Let me show you one of these documents, actually. Let me show you this memorandum. As you can see. So let me, this is the memorandum for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. NORAD had been tracking UAP number 23 over Yukon entering Canadian airspace since the afternoon of February 11th, 2023. NORAD numbers objects on a sequential basis per year to track every detected object that is not immediately identified. Upon cross-examination, most objects are found to be innocuous and do not meet the threshold for higher reporting or engagement. Object 23's function, method of propulsion, or affiliation to any nation state remains unverified. It is unknown whether it poses an armed threat or has intelligence collection capabilities. The full exploitation of UAP number 20, which is the incident I'm referring to that happened in DeadHorse, Alaska, which was engaged by the U.S. on February 10th, 2023, has not yet been completed. This memo was released February 15th. And we just seen, evidence by, Backcountry YouTube channel. He's there. He's in Prudhoe Bay. He's right there. You can see the increased military activity that is occurring. Our government, it is, I don't feel like I really need to say alleged, but whatever, right? Our government has a UAP retrieval program, okay? They go out, they retrieve these down craft in order to reverse engineer these downed craft. There are teams that are completely dedicated to this role, to this siloed role. The government works in a very siloed manner, which is why in a lot of situations, one department in the government may not know another department in the government, is doing something. You have to be read into all of these special access programs. But there's no question that, there is a UAP retrieval program. Do you remember Project Aqua that Joe Rogan's vlogging podcast made ever so popular not too long ago? When it was brought up by Tucker Carlson. The government actually released classified, or they lowered the classification on some documents regarding Project Aqua. And in this project, there are, when you actually read through the documents, there's like 6, 7, 8 different, I guess you could call it like departments or silos of various job functions that people would have during the recovery of a UFO, UAP, etc. There's going to be one person that's there to recover any organic material like bodies, life forms. There's going to be another group of people that are there to make sure the craft is safe to go in. There's going to be another, group of people that are going to come in, document, inventory everything in the craft, to another different, completely different set or group of people that would retrieve that craft, get it on a truck or whatever, they put it on and load it up and bring it to whatever military base they're going to bring it in. Then there would be a whole different group of people that would try to reverse engineer these craft. And that's essentially how these programs work. Project Aqua, Kona Blue, when those documents were released, there was also, talk about how do they deal, how the UAP retrievals are done. But when I tell you that the breakdown was so in depth, and our government released these documents. And while I'm thinking about it, you all should go and check out a video on my platform that I did not too long ago, in which I talked about that more in depth. Project Kona Blue, Project Aqua actually went through, and we actually read the documents live. There's also a video that I did around that time that we went over some whistleblower threads that have popped up on 4chan and or Reddit. And when I was, in particular, I had, did a whole show on a whistleblower thread that suddenly got deleted the next day after my live stream. Don't know what that's all about, but it definitely happened. Now, this is the object this is the only photo we have of the object that was shot down over the Yukon in Canada. Canadian authorities actually released this image of this unidentified object that was actually shot down in the Yukon Territory by a U.S. Air Force F-22 Raptor stealth fighter back again in February 2023. And this is the first image, in that whole week that actually dropped, right? Where we actually got photos. This photo got declassified within days of the shoot down, which is really interesting. But it was then withheld for release for quite some time. But Canada's CTV News first published this donut-shaped image, which again is also known as an unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP-23. This is UAP-23, right? There was also some partially redacted emails that had also been released from members of the Canadian Armed Forces. But listen, that's a live stream for another day. But a very interesting, craft object. It looks donut shaped. It looks like there's, I don't know if there's why there's a space there. I don't know if who knows, right? This particular object again was shot down 2 days after UAP20 was shot down over DeadHorse, Alaska. Now, that's again that same week, right after this object was shot down, another object that was trying to pass over Lake Huron was shot down as well on February 12th. Again, is right after the time when the Chinese spy balloon, all that news about the Chinese spy balloon was happening. This donut-like shape, it has an open center. It looks like it has like a notch or gap in its circumference on one side. It's possible that maybe there's light reflecting only from like a certain part of the craft, and maybe that maybe it doesn't represent the full shape. Who knows? But CTV News noted that this image, when it was released, it appeared to be a photocopy of an email printout that makes it even harder to discern any, definitive details. But the best description on this object was visual. It was a cylindrical object. The top quarter was metallic. The remainder of it was white. There was 20-foot wire hanging below with some sort of package suspended from it. This was in the emails that was released. But when you look at the released picture with that description, it doesn't really quite match, does it? But when this happened, Canadian authorities described this object that was shot down over the Yukon as a small cylindrical object. And it is unknown whether this object, known as UAP20, it's unknown whether it posed a threat or if it had intelligence collection capabilities. Again, that was in the memo we just looked at. But this area, the area in which the impact or the shoot down occurred for UAP23 is actually a known caribou migration route, which opens the possibility that someone could discover where this object is in the future. So my understanding is the object that was shot down over the Yukon was actually never recovered. Who knows? Who knows? Now, when all this happened, U.S. officials said that these trio of objects were benign. But they did withhold the image of UAP23 from being released to the public. Got to ask yourself why. Why is our government so intent on trying to starve us of information when it comes to this topic? And we're the ones paying the bills, you all. We're the ones every week when you get paid, all that money coming out of your paycheck goes towards these black projects, these secret, top secret, ultra top secret projects. And as I've always said, it's as if our government thinks we're all stupid. Like we can't determine or discern this, whatever knowledge it is, like we're dumb. It makes you wonder, what all are they really hiding when it comes to this? This is no doubt, when it comes to UFOs and NHIs, meaning non-human intelligence or other types of life forms, there's no question that our government is hiding any and everything to do with these topics, period. It's very telling. Very, very telling. We've had Congress having hearings on the whole topic of UFOs, and they were even in session having hearings around the time that these incidents actually happened. So what do you all think? Do you think it's possible we'll get additional information? Maybe Canada could light a fire under the United States. Now, again, this isn't a picture that has been seen all over Twitter and some other subsequent photos, but this is the best one. And it is alleged that this is the object that was shot down. It looks kind of like a Tic Tac, right? These craft, they are not using engines to propel themselves. They have some sort of technology that is gravity, anti-gravity related. That's why they're able to make all of those insane, 90-degree angle turns, and the occupants in the craft are just sitting in their chairs without even the need for a seatbelt, because these craft create a gravitational field around it. And so in essence, they become, they're in a whole different gravitational field than the gravitation that affects Earth. That's why they can make those insane turns without any harm to the occupants that are in those craft. But I'd like to see more people talk about this. And when you do, make sure that you put UAP20 somewhere visible in, your article or your video, in the subject of the video, etc. Because I think that's a very interesting indication of, again, how many craft or UAP objects NORAD has tracked so far in the year. There's also, folks, there is also other documents that have been put out there, so to speak. You should go on Twitter and just do a little search for UAP20 and you will see the documents that I'm talking about. Listen, before we get up out of here, allow me to pay a few bills if you don't mind. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
All right, you all. Before we get up out of here, I just want to tell you all a little bit more about some more information, right, from these incidents that happened in February of last year. Also, in that memo, the one that I referred to earlier, the Canadian Air Force actually pointed out they were leading an aviation search effort to find this downed object, and there was some hope that it would be found. However, it went on to say that there was mountainous terrain, existing snow cover, and expected new snowfall that could make the finding of that craft or that object, UAP, that was shot down, make the prospect of finding or recovering that object unlikely. And again, it also expressed concern that indigenous hunters could accidentally find the object during their caribou hunt. And one thing that came to mind when I read the portion where it was a known migration route for caribou, is I started thinking about all of the cattle mutilations that happened. Let me show you really quick, since politicians use Twitter for everything. Let me just show you all this really quick, in which our government, all the way up to Biden, acknowledged, they actually acknowledged that an object had been shot down. This is actually the New York Times that published a post. What they've linked to a video that we've seen earlier in the live stream, in which John Kirby spoke about this object that had been shot down over the frozen waters of Alaska. So, I mean, it doesn't get any more official than that. Hopefully, our government will one day participate in disclosing information on this topic. I feel like we have a right to know, especially if there's any evil intent by some other advanced civilization, whatever their intent is. We all have a right to know if there is something else out there that we need to be aware of. Who knows? It could be dangerous if we don't know all that we need to know. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. I'll catch you all on the next live stream. Until next time, everyone.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.